Hello, hello, hello. Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday, AT Ellers. AT Ellers, happy Tuesday. It is September August 30th 2022. This is the last Tuesday in the month of August. Good evening to all of you. My name is Abby Tyler. I am your host, a family nurse practitioner and content creator, and also a volunteer, community health volunteer. How are you all this evening? It is nice out here. It's supposed to be raining a little bit today, so let me just put my glasses back on. And I'm just gonna share the show for 2 minutes. So welcome to all of you who are joining me tonight. Welcome to all my new followers as well. Thank you for trusting me to join in this joining of health and wellness. So just give me 2 seconds here. I'm going to just share the show to the other forum and make sure everything is going right. Let me go in here. I always do this. I'm gonna try to get my new opening in a few weeks or so. And I do that one more time. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Okay, so I am here. We are live and in the house to go. So again, welcome to all my new followers. My name is Abby Tyler. I'm practicing family nurse practitioner, content creator, and community volunteer. I also contribute to other forums as well. So today I didn't have a particular topic in mind since it's the end of the month and it's also the transitional time of the year where kids are going back to school. Parents are very preoccupied with all the 10,000 forms that you have to fill out, especially if your kids are in the younger classes. Even in older classes, you have to fill up all the forms, emergency forms, and everything else. And for the kids who are moving from kindergarten to first grade or the transitional years like junior high, going to high school, and all that too. So it can be a little bit unnerving. And so I just want to make sure that I just review the topics that I went through, and I'm going to be doing that too at the end of the every month. If I don't have anything important, not something important, everything is always important. But if I don't want to just go back into the next topic the following by the end of the month, so I'll just review. So I'm just going to go on to did you miss these topics that I talked about? Okay, again, I am a provider, but I'm not your provider. So whatever I say here should not take the place of you going to see your own provider. Okay, so let me just get started here. I have my notes on my phone. So what did we talk about in the month of August? So let's go here. I'm just gonna make my notes. So okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm also going to post the videos that I talked about. They're already on, if you're a member of this forum, they're already on the different videos below this one. If you're not a member of this forum, you'll probably see some of it on your page, on the group that you're watching from. But also, like I said, also try to, and follow Abby Tyler's Healthy Living page. Don't do the group, do the page. It's the same thing, but do the page so that way I don't have to add you and all that. And then also post things in between that I don't make a video or the days that I don't make videos. So I post helpful posts in between. So it'll be kind of nice for you to kind of join and just kind of read along and also ask questions or inquiries. Okay. So let's talk. Let's start what we talked about. So when we started this year, this month, I keep saying year, you can tell August was kind of busy. We started this month talking about sex, and also the main reason too I wanted to bring these up. So just in case if people had additional questions when I posted them first, and they didn't get around to, I didn't get around to answering their question, or it wasn't answered adequately. So I just decided let me just do that again. Okay. So we started this month. I was talking about let's talk about sex. That was a topic that was brought to my attention by one of the viewers, stating that it's a problem in our Liberian community, and it's also a community as overall community. Whereas people get old, they kind of lose that intimacy, and there's so many other reasons that bring them up. So he wanted to make sure there was any kind of medical reasons behind it or psychological reasons behind it. I did go into all the different reasons. I talked about sex and aging in your 20s, where you're so virile and you still your testosterone level, both men and women, your libido and all that is still like at the highest point where you're going at it and you're in love and you're doing everything. The body, like, naturally primal need to get pregnant. And also at that age is the healthiest to get pregnant too when you're in your 20s and early 30s. Now that you can get pregnant when you're 40s and 50s is just ideal at that time to do that. And you can still get pregnant later on. Some people delay their childbearing until later on. So that's nothing against anybody who wants to wait. Okay, but I did talk about the fact that when you get to 30s, and if you had children before that, your children are a little getting older, and you're talking about family issues and everything that comes along with being a woman, everything that comes along with being a man, your testosterone level starts to slow down. Your ability to want to have sex, your libido kind of starts slowing down a little bit. For women, it does pick up a little bit because at that point, that's when your body is telling you, okay, we get into the point where you may not be able to have children easily as you get into your 40s. So try to get it done so you want to do it all the time. And I talked about, yes, you start going through menopause and men start going through their issues too with low testosterone, and that kind of lowers your libido, and then physiological changes and physical changes, and family and stress and everything else that goes along with that. So, and I did give you a lot of hints on what to look for, and if you have those issues and all that, kind of keep your mind open, be open-minded and also receptive, and have open line of communication with your partner. Because what happens is most of the time people feel this and they don't talk to their partner. Some of them feel ashamed, some of them feel like, okay, if I say something, that mean they may not like me or whatever it is. But bring this attention, have an open line of communication, and then you both can talk to your doctors about it. There's so many resources that you can help, whether it's medical or whether you're going for counseling. There's so many helpful resources that can help you get back to where you need to be. No, you're not going to be hanging from the chandeliers when you're in your 50s and 60s or 40s or 50s, but at least it can get you to where you having a healthy sex life and healthy intimate life with your partner. So go back and watch that. Let's talk about sex. I did parts 1 and 2, so that's down there. You can go ahead and watch that. Okay, I'm gonna also try to give like a little time in between topics so that way I can answer any questions if anybody has any questions. Okay, let me see here. Saying water. Let me just. Okay. Okay. Watch. Okay. Sorry. I don't want to get distracted too much, but let's just focus on Liberius. Watch Abby Tyler's Healthy Living every Tuesday at 7 p.m. and 11 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. Am I saying that right? Thank you. And oh, okay, vaccinations. Okay, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so again, I did parts 1 and parts 2. I'm still open to answering questions if you guys put anything on there. Okay, so and then the next time I talked about, I do Abby Tyler's I do Friday chat with Abby every Friday. I've been doing it like 7 o'clock. I've been not slacking, but I kind of took a break because it was summertime and Friday night everybody's got 10,000 things going on. So I decided I'm just gonna restart that hopefully this week or next week when things are all settled and people are back in school. Okay, so I did do some talked about a topic about to help stop procrastination. Already, I gave a couple of tips there. I said, the best way to do it, especially now people are going back to school, whether it's like junior high, what is any kind of level of school, especially but when you're an adult and you have family members doing things and you're responsible for certain things. Now, procrastination doesn't mean you're lazy or you're not doing your work. For most of us who are I'm a procrastinator. I'm also a perfectionist. So sometimes if I think about, oh my God, I have to do so many things, and then I wait, and then it gets so pressured, and that's when I'm under pressure, then I can do a lot more work. But sometimes you just have to just go at it. Okay, so I did some of the tips I put there to get organized, prioritize the things that you have to do, put the other things aside, set simple achievable goals, create a timeline and a schedule. So, okay, you can say, I'm going to do parts A today, parts B. Like if you have to do a paper, you want to get your abstract done and get all your things together. And this week I'm going to do this, and start doing this the minute that is assigned to you. For most people, they have this syllabus and this class syllabus. So you know what, when all those papers are due, you want to say, okay, these are the things I'm going to start doing right now. Do a little bit at a time, do a little bit at a time. So by the time I get around to when it's almost due, I can just fine tune it and make sure I get an A. Because when I was in school, if you get anything any day, it's like one day and late, it was like 10 points off. So you want to start off at least, and then 100. So if they take any points out, they can take a little bit here and there. I know some people say we're in the 80s and 90s and all, but you always want to get the highest grade on the things that are easy to get. So at least that way, when you struggle on other subjects, then you know you have something there to buffer you up. Okay, so set a deadline. Of course, like I said, if you have something to do, set a deadline. If you already have a deadline, try to work hard enough to get. So don't wait until the deadline to do it. All right, I'm the kind of person where they used to give me like a 10-page paper and I won't get to it. I'll put everything down, won't get to it, and then I'll sit down like the night before and try to do everything. But then that's when you worry about your computers breaking down or something doesn't. So at this point, you don't want to do. You don't want to sit there and wait for technology to fail, especially when you have to turn in your paper at a certain time of the night. So, and depending on if you're doing school online, if you're a teacher, even if you're not online, certain things are due to be uploaded at a certain time. So give yourself time. Take time off for yourself, but not too much. Also take a break, use incentive. Like what I do, I used to say, okay, I used to be off Facebook like 3 to 4 months at a time when I was doing my semesters, especially when I was in NP school. And then I was, because when I went for my bachelor's program, yes, Facebook was around my talking about, but I wasn't too much into it at that time. And I was able to so when I was in NP school, I stayed on Facebook during my semesters, and I would sit there and say, okay, I'll do my midterms, and then I'll do and then I'll get on Facebook maybe for like 24 hours, see what's going on, and get a separate there time. So I was off completely for the entire semester. And I'll say, okay, when I pass, and I will come back on, enjoy for 2 weeks, and then the semester started again. So give yourself incentives or buy yourself something pretty, but do that also to help yourself out. Okay. And get the hard stuff done first. Okay. If you have something that you have to do, and do the hardest part first. Like they say, eat the elephant beetle first. So eat the hard part first, and then you can just fine tune the next part. All right. And so let me see. Okay. I did that. And then also, like I said, do it as much, and then try, because if you keep saying, also somebody told me, if you keep saying I'm a procrastinator, you're never going to get out of that point. So just do things in a way where it's like, okay, I'm not a procrastinator, I'm just trying to try to get the things that I need to do, and do this as quickly as I can. So just do a little bit at a time, try to get a little bit at a time, so you're not struggling, because I can guarantee you, especially nowadays with everything that's going on, something might go wrong. Your computer, something might go wrong. I remember many nights waking up my kids and like, fix that so I can turn that in right away. Okay, so you don't want to put yourself in that pressure. If you're a working parent, also, most of us are working parent. You have your kids to deal with. You have your elderly relatives to deal with, parents, and also to deal with. So don't stress yourself out too much by delaying things that you have to do. I know sometimes it can be tempting to be on the computer, to be doing Facebook, to doing social media stuff. I know it's tempting, but you have to say, okay, I have a goal in mind and I have to stick to it. Okay. So 1 second there. Let me see any questions so far. No. Okay. So, and the following week, we celebrate our 8th anniversary. For those of you who are new to the forum, I had this forum since 2014. I had it when I had Abby Tyler's Healthy Living Group, and I decided to form this forum so I can deliver health information that was culturally relevant. Because again, like I said, where I used to have Liberian patients, and even in my community, different things that I went to, and the dietitian or this person, the doctor or whoever, will be talking to the patients and telling me, okay, eat low carbs food, eat this, eat that. Well, if that's not the kind of food that you eat, it's not your staple. Let's say you eat rice a lot, and they tell you cut back on your mashed potatoes, cut back on your pasta. If you don't eat those things, you're not going to understand that all of that still have, with your rice has carbohydrates in it. Are you eating food? As Liberian people, we eat food where we put every meat, every animal in a pot. Okay, so it's like, okay, you want to be eating like dry chicken, you want to be eating some buni, you want to be eating fish and all that too. Don't fry your food, because a lot of people are frying their food. Don't eat too much fried chicken. Don't put too much salt. We put seasoned salt, and we put additional salt. Don't put too much seasoning there, because all of that, too much salt, and artificial drinks and all of that. What happens, that just increases the sugar content in your body. It also sucks up all that fluid, and also takes your blood pressure up. I see that when I'm watching African movies where it's like you're poor and you drinking water and you're walking and you're doing this and you're doing everything eating from the soil. But as soon as that they get rich, you see the really rich people in the movies and the dining table, most of them not drinking water, they're drinking like something artificial. And I remember we had a neighbor that when they had a store across the street, later they used to get in a car and drive across the street. So as you get older, as you get more, I won't say richer, or you get to the point where you're in like a more robust society. Let's say you're in America, and or you even back home, when you start making money, you start doing things that are less healthy. Okay, before you used to go playing soccer and you were drinking water and you were eating food that were made directly from the soil, but as you start making money and then you start doing these things. Now over here, you can be making gardening all year, of course, that and something people are not good at gardening. I'm not. My husband is the one that does the gardening. By the way, I got my gardening show video down there. You guys can watch that. So, but you want to do as much as possible to eat healthy. So that was the reason why I formed this forum, and I've been going strong for 8 years now. Trust me, some days it's just me and my cousin were watching, and other people get like thousand. But I have been doing so well on Focus in Liberia. So thank you guys so much. Again, if you're watching me from Focus in Liberia, you can also join here so you can get other stuff. But thank you guys so much. I've been averaging like over 500 views every day. Sometimes I got up to like 1,400. So thank you all so very much. Okay. And then the following week, I did health and safety tips for back to school. That applies really now, especially for those going back to school. I did that mainly for check health and safety tips for back to school for children. I did make sure your kids get a checkup. If they need to get a physical, you would have done that before school opens anyway, because they would have sent you a physical form to get that done. And in some school, in your school district, if you don't have like a PCP, primary care provider, I don't know about Liberia, so I'm not going to speak to that. You can also to give you the option to have your kids have their physical, their dental and everything done at the school. So if you want to do that in the school, they can give you option to do that, and it's free of charge. I mean, you go to especially if your kids go to public school, you're paying taxes and all that, so it's there. Okay, just gonna go there. So I put it update your medical information for your kids, making sure when they bring that card home from the parents, from the school, that you're filling up all the information and making sure it's up to date. If your child had any issues with that they had any kind of new allergies during the summer, or they had any kind of infectious disease or anything else that they had during the summertime, that they need closer surveillance when they go to school, the school nurse has to know what that. So make sure you fill in that form up completely. And if you need any, talk to the guidance counselor, or if you need to speak to the school nurse, make sure you call ahead of time and set up the appointment. Okay. So also said, review safety rules, have the code word for you and your kids who can pick you up, even though you can say, okay, my cousin will pick them up. If it's not on that list, they're not gonna drop them off. But even if the kids are home and somebody comes and knock on the door and they say, who's that? And if that person doesn't know the code word, tell your kids not to open the door. Now, you shouldn't be leaving your children home if they're less than 12 years old. That depends on your state. So please check on the different things and all that. If they're 12 years old, you shouldn't be leaving at home with too many younger ones either, because a 12-year-old cannot take care of so many little kids there. But have that code words. I don't know. There are so many family dynamics. I'm not yet to say, okay, because I know childcare can be very expensive. Trust me. My kids were younger way back then. It was expensive. So I know it's more expensive now. But make sure they have a code word. And if that person has to guess the code word, that person doesn't know it. Okay. Make sure your kids know their parents' name, their parents' full name, their parents' phone number. If you can give them a cell phone when they're about maybe 10 and has just couple of numbers in there, and they cannot make the call out to anybody else that's not listed on that phone, do that for them. Because it used to be like, oh yeah, there was my time when we used to go walking somewhere, we didn't have no cell phone, we just did. Well, there are also many times, so you hear stories that so many kids that were abused during that time that nobody talked about it. They went to go visit this person, they went to go do a play at this person's house. And if a child doesn't feel comfortable hanging around any adult, please don't make them. I don't care whether that adult is the uncle, aunt, or whoever. I don't think women can be predators. Women can be predators as well. Okay, so if they don't feel comfortable, don't make them. I don't want to hug this person. I don't want to sit in this person's lap. Do not make them. They shouldn't be sitting on anybody's lap who's not their relatives anyway. Okay, who's not like close that you really know of and you feel comfortable with. Even if you do feel comfortable with them, if they say, I don't want to, mommy, don't make them. Okay, and also have that conversation with them about safe touching and proper touching. All right, as I already did establish emergency procedures. If they're riding bikes, if they're walking, making sure you're doing how crossing the street, how safe, especially if they get off the bus. Don't go running. The bus has the lights on and everything, but sometimes, God forbid, just make sure that they know that the lights are on and pay attention to the driver when the driver said you can cross the street now. Okay, because there's some people who they will see the lights when the bus is on, they'll see the stop thing and everything, and they will drive through it because there are idiots out there. So make sure you protect your kids. All right, stand up to bullying and talk about how you know how to stand up to bullying and know when to walk away, because nowadays, back in the day, you got bullied, you guys got teased and all. Yes, it hurt a long time, but nowadays these kids, like, you tease them and all, and some of them, everybody's got everybody mental status is not stable. You don't know what that person's going through. You just teasing them. If you could be the person who being teased, or you can be the person who doing the teasing, but you don't know that when that person, you could be saying something to that person, to that another child or that teenager who has gone through so much, and just that one thing that you have to say that can just tip them over. And everybody with guns and all that, and so many things, people can beat somebody up to death. So it's just leave people alone. Okay, leave people alone. Nobody should be bullying anybody. And also talk to your kids, talk to your kids, because your kids may be too afraid to say anything, or you may be telling them, well, go ahead, if they do something, go ahead, punch them back, do this, do that, and they may be afraid because they have all these rules in school. But kids can also become very depressed and very withdrawn. So talk to your kids about it and leave that line of communication open at all times, especially for parents who are foreigners like us and all. Don't say, oh yeah, when I was back home and this and this. And no, I always tell you, your kids are living in America now. Okay, they're being exposed to things here now. Don't think because people used to say, oh, when you're in this house, you're in Liberia, and when you go, no, when they're still in America. Okay, so the things that they have to deal with, we didn't have to deal with it. Children used to get teased and bullied. Nowadays they can sit in there, take one picture, and send to all their friends on their phone, on the computer, and all. So they have so much more to deal with. Okay, please be receptive and keep an open mind when you're talking to your kids. All right. Don't say, I'm not going to sit there and take this Liberian, this American thing. And because you think you're in America now, so we Americanize. No. Be very open minded and be receptive to what they're going through. Okay. Suicide among immigrants, very real. Suicide overall, very real. And don't say, oh, yeah, this group of people can do it. Does that know we're Christians and we this, we're. Listen to me. Be very open minded and be very receptive when your kids come to you. If they don't come to you, keep the lines of communication open. Don't just ask them question, how was your day? Fine, and that's it. Because they're going through a lot. The peer pressure is very, very intense on these kids these days. Very. Okay. All right. I also talked about the fact that when if you have a daughter who saw her period during the summertime, make sure you have prepared her when she goes back to school, that she has all the supplies and more than what she needs. Okay, because you don't want them coming back home and saying, oh my God, I had an accident, I was so embarrassed and all. You don't want to do that. You've been there, you know how it feels like. Okay, so make sure to have everything. If she has a little purse, put that in her bag and all that, and teach her how to be modest about that. Modest to say everybody, but just make sure that she's doing stuff where you like cute little lady as she's growing up and getting to know her body. And do not shame her, and do not say, oh yes, now you seen your period, you're going to be pregnant. Have the talk. I also have a show that says the talk, how to have the talk with your daughter and have the talk with your son. If you don't feel comfortable doing it, they do it. Most schools have it now in like the fourth and fifth grade, because usually, like I said, girls has start going to puberty around like age 8, and boys start around age 9. Usually by about 2 years after they start going through puberty and all that too, that's when they usually see their period. Okay, so if you don't feel comfortable, you can talk to the nurse, you can talk to the guidance counselor, and then go ahead and do that. All right. So let me just see here. And so that was pretty much it for that, for the back to school thing. So let me just see if I have any questions and comments in between there. Alrighty. Yeah, Jackie, that's me, her one and only cousin. Yes, but yes, thank you so much. If nobody else is watching, I know my cousin's gonna be watching. When she doesn't watch, I'm like, wait a second, I hope she's okay. So yes, thanks, cuz don't worry, when Oprah comes looking for me, we're going together, right? Ride and die. So alrighty, so let me just go on there, and I think I copy the other question. Okay. Alrighty. So in between there, I did do post a video about eye health. I did have a whole detailed video about, making sure you get your eyes checked and the reasons for getting your eyes checked. I also posted some pictures about breast cancer. I did a whole post over there. Breast Cancer Awareness Month is next month, is, well, still in August, is in October, but breast cancer awareness is every day. So I went and got my mammogram. Trust me, most of us is like, I didn't want to go. I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to. And every year I get scared. I'm like, okay, but I don't have any family history of it, but you don't have to have a family history of it. Everybody is at risk. One in every 8 women would get diagnosed this year. So, and you at a higher risk if you have family members with it. Everybody is at risk, but if you're at higher risk if you have like your mother, sibling, grandmother, your first degree relatives, sometimes your second degree relatives too. So you're at a higher risk. So it's important that when you get to a certain age, depending on your family history and what your insurance will cover, is usually like age 40 for like really higher risk, depending on when your mother or sister was diagnosed, and it's like 45 to 50 for everybody else. Making sure you're doing your breast exam every time. I also have a video. I'm going to be posting that in October as well. Okay, so make sure you do that. All right. And I did my gardening stuff. I also posted some other stuff. I did something about good vibes the other day. I put that on there. So watch my gardening video. I talked about all the African food, all the African plants that we're playing. Cassava leaf and potato grains. We'll have enough potato grains for this summer, for the winter. All right. So by the end of then we ended the month with I just gonna get talking too much. I talked all day at work, so my throat's getting dry. Alrighty. And the last one, excuse me, the risk of using the internet to self-diagnose. And I did talk about how to use the internet because, and also how to find reputable sites. Okay. So some of the reasons I give for a reason people, they go on the internet, and trust me, I didn't mean to. Some people, like, I think somebody asked me if I like, oh, well, the internet is not all that bad. And we look at it too. Even when we were in school, those of us were in nursing school, NP school. And remember, as soon as we learn one new system, we're like, oh yeah, that's what I have. You were so convinced everything we learn in school, every system we learn in school, every disease process, we figure we had it or somebody else had it. We'll be like, okay, yes, that's what they had. And then now that we have the knowledge, we also can go into those reputable sites if we find any kind of test results that's something that's relating to us or to our family members. We're there and we're looking through and we're checking and all and looking deeper and deeper into it. And then you go to get your test results back or go for a second result and like, oh, okay, that was fine. But then at the same time, it makes you worry more because you know so much. So it's like when you look there and you're like, and you start seeing things and it's how you come back from more tests. Let's see this results. And you start having all the worst case scenarios. So it's important that, again, some of the reasons I give for, not using the internet, because you become overly certain of things. You're like, this is exactly what I have. There's no way nobody's going to trust. No doctor's going to tell me that. So then you have this thing about, okay, your doctor must not be not reading or doesn't know you well enough. You know your body. Nobody's saying anything like that. You know your body. You're the part of the health team. We're there to help you. I go back to that show. I told you how we do about how to go about diagnosing people. And there are some times when there are so many other things that could be going wrong. So we do the most serious one, and then we go back to the one that's like least. So we say, okay, maybe this is what's going on. We want to make sure it's not your heart. We want to make sure it's not your brain. So you're not having a stroke. You're not having blood clot. You're not having any kind of blood clot in your heart. So anything in that's going to cause you any kind of death or disability immediately. Once we rule that out, then we can go ahead and do that. So when you see that, you're saying, nope, all these symptoms point to this, not necessarily. Okay. And it makes you, look at me, it makes you scared because you're sitting there and you start worrying. Of course, if somebody tells you this could be it. And when I give my patients their test results, and I was like, okay, don't worry. This is where we are right now. Okay, this is just a warning to say you have to eat healthy, or you have to do this, or we have to do more testing because maybe this test result, this number that we have is just this in this time that you're dealing with. When we can we will repeat it again in 3 to 6 months and see where we are. If it's there, then we can move on to the next step. Don't get yourself all worried. But if you're reading that and without being able to discern which one is what you're supposed to be looking at, It's scary. And again, like I said, when you read all these different, anybody can put anything on Google. Anybody can put anything there. So Google tells you when you're reading them, how to look for reputable sites. When you're reading it, look for the bottom. Look at the article. Look at the bottom of the article for the references. If there are no references that says from this doctor or from this and this group, be very wary of it, okay? Because anybody can post anything there. So then that's how you can go back and then go to the references and then read the article that was from, okay? But if you don't have the medical background, it's kind of hard to really read it and understand it because it could be overly, medical, or they can make it in a way where it's so dumbed down and you say, "Oh, I'm fine." This is this is that. You're just reading that. They're supposed to tell you, then follow up with your family doctor. Like I said, I always give my disclaimer every time I do this. I'm a provider, but I'm not your provider. I don't know everything that I need to know about you in order to come to a diagnosis. That's why when people act, that's the reason why when this is like, oh, when you get out of school, somebody may ask you, oh, can you please order this antibiotic for me? Can you please order this medication for me? My regular doctor's out of town. Can you just order it? I'd be like, I can't do that. I don't know anything about you. And if anything should go wrong, you're going to come back and sue me, and I have to protect my license, and I also have to protect my employer. So it's important that when you read these articles that you going on, you can take it and say, okay, doc, this is what I have here. What do you think? And then your doctor can look at all your past medical history, your allergies, your family history, your surgical history, and then come to a conclusion on what your diagnosis could be, or the differential diagnosis, meaning it could be this, and this, but let's take care of the most important one first. Okay. Alrighty, so I went through all that, and like I said, unreliable sources and all. Make sure if you go in, you can look for the NIH, the National Institute of Health, the CDC's website. You can go to World Health Organization website, and again, like I said, you can look at all that. But it is, if you need, but don't sit there and self-diagnose because there's so many other things could be going wrong. Again, like I said, you could be reading something that says, "Oh, maybe I'm just having heartburn," and you could be having a heart attack, or you could be having just you can just be having a heartburn. But if you say, okay, if you convince yourself and you don't go get checked, it could be deadly, or it could just be something that could be handled right there in the doctor's office. All right. So of course, so that topic I got a lot of feedback from it, and also got inbox messages too. And also they said, people are saying, well, sometimes, doctors can have issues where it's like, okay, if the doctor doesn't look like you and doesn't have the lived experience, which is very important, representation really matters. So if doctor doesn't have lived experience, if you go there and you go there not so much biases, I think but it's like I may have, say, okay, for lack of a better word, you may go in there saying, okay, this doctor doesn't know that much about my people or things that I do, and they may not be able to treat me well because I'm dealing with this. That could be a problem also. So it's like, okay, so you can sit there and say, I want to get a doctor that looks like me because that doctor can understand, especially when it comes to dermatology and things like that, which is anything that has to do with the skin. Most doctors, and I used to do that in nursing school and the NP school. Most of the books you look into, they don't have people of color when you're talking about skin issues. Most of it, almost like 99% of it, is like not, it has like Caucasian skin. So when you're looking for certain diseases and you're trained into just looking at Caucasian skin, you're not going to be effectively able to treat a patient that doesn't have that skin color effectively. Now, is that anything on your part? But as a practitioner, as a provider, and all that, too, this is incumbent upon you to go ahead and read that more. I also was talking about the fact that I know for us Black people, we have a history of where things were not up to par when it came to research back in the day. There were so many things that were unscrupulous, unethical, and all that. So we still think about that when we go into the doctor's office. Okay, are they going to treat me well? If this person doesn't look like me, are they going to do that? And all of that. So you have to unpack all of that. Not unpack all of that, but kind of just set it aside when you go into the doctor's office. Because, like I said, 95% of my patients don't look like me. Okay, so they might also be thinking the same thing too. She doesn't have the lived experience that we do, and so will she be able to treat me right? Will she be able to diagnose me right? Will she see all the cultural differences that I come into the office with? Will she be able to look past that and be able to see me and see everything, and not just treat me as a group? Because you can say, okay, African Americans, okay, African Americans also, but you're talking about African Americans, like, those who came from Africa. And even when you're talking about those from Africa, there's so many different things. So we eat differently. We may socialize differently. So we're not just all monolithic in one group. Okay, so that practitioner or provider needs to really look past all of that and sit there and look at that person as an individual and also look at the whole group. Okay, because if you can sit there, most African Americans I know, Black Americans now, they don't eat rice that much. Liberians, we eat rice too. So if you're talking about, okay, let me get your ethnic background, what is it that you eat? Ask open-ended questions and all that. And I also said, for, and I'm going back to the research part, most of us don't engage, most of us don't volunteer for research. Okay, some of these researchers, they kind of pay for you to be in there. Most of us don't. Because even I remember I was talking to somebody, to my daughter, when we were in nursing school. She was a baby at the time, and I had a coworker, I had a classmate who her husband was a publisher, and she said, can your daughter kind of model for us so we can do some things so they can see like a picture of a Black baby, and also to teach medical people later on. And I said, no, I don't want, what if they could do something and use my daughter's picture for something else? And then people would say, oh, what if they have your picture and you thinking they're going to say something, be like, oh, do you have herpes? And then they use my picture for that. I don't want that. Do you have this? Do you have that? So you always have that in the back of your mind. But if most of the people who are in these studies, if they're not people of color, if you're not volunteering as much to do, so most of it, when you read the study, then you're going to see, when you see all the people that they're study for this, it's going to be, okay, we did affluent and Caucasian males, or most of the people that we tested were Caucasians, so most of the people we tested was this and all. So it's kind of hard to determine certain things when you don't put people in there for research. So, and I know it's kind of scary, and I know everything that comes along with it, but eventually we have to do that. When we went to NP school too, we had to do different things. We had this horrible thing with will be gynecological history, female issues, female so there were things where they did to Black women back then. Well, we also had to do our testing on people, somebody who were doing like the pap smear when you go to the doctor, the female. No, there, none of the people there look like me. So if you're looking at certain things and cultural differences and be able to how to approach somebody and talk about that, we need to do that. Okay, I just like an appeal. We need to do that. We need to put ourselves, try as much as possible to put ourselves out there, so when they're doing these studies, they can have like a wide sample of people to do, and there would be like variations between different groups. And so when that practitioner, that provider comes into the room, they can say, yes, during my training, I saw this, I'm looking at this, I want to make sure this is not just a rash that I'm looking at, as opposed to this is not measles, this is something more that could kill you, something later on in that. So I just, is just my appeal. Okay, put yourself out there, or there are like most of these things, so like young people like to do it. And also keep yourself open to make sure everything that is up and up, and most of these people have laws that they have to follow. It can be scary, but again, if we never see a Black skin, how it disappears in the Black skin, or how it disappears on Hispanic skin, it's all just Caucasian skin. It's kind of hard to do that because they can only go with what they have. Okay, and if you need to find a doctor that doesn't understand you, and you need to find a doctor, maybe you say, I want to find a doctor that looks like me, or a doctor that can understand you, and you've tried to get along with this doctor and it's not working, you can go ahead and find another doctor. You don't have to stay with that doctor. Sometimes you can be the same color and you can, and it's not working. So it's not just the skin color, or like, again, like I said, I cannot be another skin color. If I can never be another sex. Yes, I know you can change yourself, but I can't, that's not me. So you have to just kind of work and develop a rapport with your provider. Okay. And also the people in the office too, because you can sit down there and say, I have a Black PCP, but then if I have to send you to a pulmonologist, a lung doctor, that person may be white, or that person may be another race. So you can limit yourself to just certain amount of people. And then you have to go to the hospital. You have to deal with people who don't look like you as well too. And there'll be people mix and match in there. So it's important that you have a good rapport with your doctor. And if you don't, I also have a video down below also, that if you have to change your doctors, how to go about it safely so you don't interrupt your health care. Okay, because if you have medications, chronic illnesses, you don't want to have anything that's going to cause you to delay getting care because you don't have a provider. All right, so basically that's it. And I cover everything. I think I got all the comments down here. Let me see. Albert, for our good healthcare, follow her advice. Thanks, Albert. You're such a sweetheart. You're always here. Anyways, I was one of the people who live close to me. So, and we've been friends forever. So friends with his whole family. So that is it. And I know you guys will be celebrating Labor Day. Labor Day is like the unofficial end of summer in America. So I hope you guys have a beautiful celebration. Make sure you celebrate responsibly. I will be, and I'm giving everybody the week to get back to school and get everything settled. So next week, I want to do a show on sickle cell. That is very important. I want to do that. If I don't do that next week, I'll probably do it in next that week after, but I do want to do it next week. So, but I just want to thank you all for watching. Thank you all. I hope you all had a fabulous summer. I had a beautiful summer. I was out in the streets. I was getting my groove on, dancing. I mean, there were so many different cookouts and graduations and so many celebrations, and it continues again this weekend. I didn't do anything last weekend. I was home finishing up my patient charting, and also when you're primary care provider, you have a lot of work you have to bring home too. So a lot of teaching, a lot of reading materials and getting patient stuff together, and the physical for school and everything else, reading other consultations and doing things. So it's very stressful. So those of you who are going to NP school, I wish you all the best of luck. Those of you who are going to nursing school, I wish you all the best of luck. If you need to inbox me, you can inbox me for tips here and there. Study hard, study hard. Make sure you have a good support system. Even if, for those of you who are not going to NP school too, but I'm talking about people who are going to, I'm talking mainly for nurses and NPs. Hope you have a good support system, because it is going to be really rough. It is, I'm telling you, there will be days where you'll be like about to pull all your hair out. So make sure you have somebody who you can talk to, somebody who'll be willing to listen to you, or you text them. And I understand that sometimes they may not be available because they have their own lives too. But and don't take time off and just smell the roses and just relax, because it's gonna be stressful. But if you have any questions or anything, make sure you call your teacher or message them, follow up, make sure you have a good relationship with your professor, especially at NP school. When you start clinical, you have a different clinical instructor, and your papers and all, do everything in time. For those of you who are going to Drexel University, that's my alma mater. Happy. My first alma mater was Bucks County Community College, and it was Immaculata University, and then it was Drexel. So that's just saying a little bit about my background. So, but I wish I hope you guys had a beautiful summer. And I'm also aware that summer wasn't that great for everybody. We also had an incident in my family too. So, and I'm sure most people had went to their valleys during the summer months. Some people lost loved ones. Some people had loved ones who got sick, and a change of life. I totally get that. So I'm not just, oh yeah, we're just fly on cloud now. My thoughts and prayers are with you guys. And I pray that everything works out fine. If you move into a different chapter in your life and have to go on without that person, those who had lost divorces or any kind of relationship with your children, everything in my thoughts and prayers are with you all. Okay, I'm not totally oblivious of everything that's going on or not caring all that. It's just that so many things have gone on, and I say, you know what, I'm just gonna try to enjoy life, because you just never know. And when I was younger, also, we didn't go anywhere. We did not go anywhere. I came to America, and it was like we didn't go anywhere. It was basically, you didn't come to America to be in the streets. That's what we did. It was like, can we go to the mall? No, there's nothing in the mall that's not in your book. That was what we were told. Okay, like really. But we grew up with immigrant parents. You didn't come to America to be in the streets. So it was basically, you go to school and you go to church and you come home. I went to my senior prom, I went to my senior homecoming stuff, and that was it. And then became a mother, got married, and all that. So I'm at a point in my life right now where it's like my kids are older, and I'm just trying to just enjoy what life has, because you just never know. Okay, even if you're like younger or older, when you're younger, also enjoy life, because there's no guarantee. There's no guarantee that you're going to live this all right age and be healthy and all. And for those of you in your 40s and 50s, we're getting to a point now where our kids are older, unless if you have smaller children. So enjoy it. Okay, it's our time to shine. And people are like, okay, yeah, you guys are old now. You this and that. Now you're not old until you're old, until you're dead. Okay, if you can get on the dance floor and dance, enjoy yourself, enjoy life. Okay, there's so many things that'll bring you down. Stay away from people who are gonna suck out the energy. Those who are energy vampires, stay away from them. Okay, or just give them little bit of doses here and there, even if they're family members. Just no. Okay, so we're going up to 45 minutes now, so I don't want to talk too long. But those videos, I'm going to try to put them in the comment section. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. I thank you all so very much for watching. We're going to be going to our fall season now soon. So starting next week, I'm going to be on here on Labor Day too, because I'll show some pictures and also have a video. And then I'll Tuesday, I will do that show. If I'm not too tired about doing Tuesday, or I will do it the following week. But I do want to do that because that's important. Somebody asked me to talk about that. And I do want to talk about prostate cancer too, because somebody asked me to also talk about that. So thank you all for watching. I really appreciate it. Thank you to all my new followers. I appreciate you here. Please share the show, invite others to join as well, and I will talk to you guys later. I'll try to be on Friday, do Friday chat with Abby. If I am not, I'll just post a video. Okay. So thank you all for watching. Stay good, stay safe. It's going to be raining out there soon, but the weather is nice, and I love summer. I wish it stayed like this all the time. But I live in the northeastern part of the United States, so it's going to be cold soon. So that's why I'm enjoying everything. But thank you all so much for watching. I don't see any other comments, so I don't want to miss anything here. I did that. Okay. Okay. So thank you all for watching, and stay safe. Thank you all. I appreciate all the love and support every week from my folks at Focus in Liberia. Thank you all. You guys rock. I see my comments. I tried to get more on my actual forum, because I think I talked about the sex thing, and Facebook, which kind of restricted. They're trying to. It was educational stuff. So, but anyways, thank you all for watching. I appreciate it. So good luck and good night, and I'll see you Friday. Okay. Bye-bye.